Across history, scattered across different continents and cultures that never met, humanity kept imagining the same kind of force, something that does not rule but intervenes, something that appears only when reality is in danger of breaking, something that enforces a structure that must not collapse. The ancient world called it fate. In Norse myth, the Norns guarded the threads of destiny, cutting them if they threatened the order of the world. The Greeks imagined the Moirai, who measured and ended every life, not as punishment but as balance. Hindu philosophy teaches that the universe survives not only through creation and destruction but through preservation. Something protects cosmic order because without preservation, existence would dissolve into chaos. Later, long after myth had faded, the same idea returned in another form: science fiction. Isaac Asimov imagined a group called Eternity, who edited events across time to prevent disaster. Doctor Who gave us the Time Lords. Marvel created the TVA. Writers joked about it in Rick and Morty. Different universes, same function. Across time, across cultures, across fiction and myth, the same role appears again and again. When history is threatened, something prevents the collapse. Most people treat that pattern as coincidence, a storytelling device. But stories are not random. The same idea does not repeat across thousands of years unless the human mind senses something. Before humanity discovered atoms, it spoke of invisible forces holding matter together. Before we understood astronomy, we believed in suns of other worlds. And before we understand time, we are already telling stories about someone who guards it. The idea of a warden is not fantasy. It is not myth. It is a logical consequence. If time travel is possible even once, then a warden must exist, not because of morality, not because of destiny, but because of hard logic. Imagine a universe where one civilization discovers how to send information backward through time. At first, they would use it for small things, correcting errors, sending warnings, saving lives. But soon they would realize something far more dangerous. If they can change their past, then someone else can change them. Their enemies would not have to defeat them in the present. They could travel back and erase them before they ever appeared. Not war, not attack, just deletion. Clean, quiet, total. In a universe without a warden, history becomes a battlefield. The first battle is always for the past. No timeline survives that kind of war. So if time manipulation is possible, then something must prevent time from being rewritten freely. That something does not need to be evil. It does not need to be noble, but it must exist. Because if time can be changed, someone has to decide what is allowed to remain real. Call that someone the warden. To understand why the warden must exist, we need to understand time itself, not as we imagine it, but as physics reveals it. Time is not a river. It does not simply flow from past to future. That is an illusion created by perception. Einstein showed that time is linked to space in a single structure, space-time. It bends, it stretches, it behaves differently depending on gravity. Two clocks will not tick at the same speed if one is near a massive object and the other is free in space. Quantum physics goes further. It suggests time may not even be fundamental. At small scales, cause and effect lose meaning. Events do not always unfold in a clear order. Some interpretations of quantum mechanics even allow retrocausality, future events influencing the past. Time is not a straight line. It is a network of linked events, a structure, and anything with structure can break. Physicists used to believe paradoxes proved time travel was impossible. But paradoxes never proved anything. They were shadows of a deeper truth. Uncontrolled time travel breaks causality. So what if causality must be protected? Not by physical law, but by enforcement. Stephen Hawking once wrote about the chronology protection conjecture, the idea that the universe prevents paradoxes to protect history. Maybe he was right, or maybe he misunderstood. Maybe paradoxes don't occur, not because the universe forbids them, but because someone prevents them. Humanity invented the Kardashev scale to measure civilizations by their energy. Type 1 harnesses the energy of a planet. Type 2 controls a star. Type 3 uses the power of a galaxy. But that scale is wrong. Power is not measured by energy. Power is measured by control. A civilization that controls time would not fight for solar systems. It would decide which solar systems exist. It would not race for resources. It would remove rivals before the race began. It would not conquer territory. It would edit history. Such a civilization would sit beyond Type 3. It would be to us what we are to ants, so far above us in ability that we would mistake it for God. But it would not be God. It would simply be a civilization that outran evolution, mastered causality, and chose to survive. But that power would not make it safe. It would make it vulnerable, because if time can be edited, then origin can be erased. The most dangerous war in the universe is not fought with weapons. It is fought with time. And that war never begins because the Warden makes sure of it. If a Warden exists, its purpose is not peace. Its purpose is not order. Its purpose is survival. Imagine a second civilization rises somewhere in the universe. It becomes advanced. It begins unlocking exotic matter, wormhole geometry, causality experiments. It gets close, too close, to time manipulation. That civilization instantly becomes a threat to the Warden, not because it is hostile, but because it could become hostile at any moment. And if it does, it could erase the Warden's origin by traveling into its past before it had defenses. For a being who controls time, the greatest weakness is not invasion, it is revision. You don't have to lose a war to disappear. Someone only has to delete your beginning. So what does the Warden do? It watches civilizations as they evolve, not their governments, not their religions, their physics. It monitors every species capable of reaching the temporal threshold, and when one gets too close, it does not attack them. It intervenes. There are only 3 options, and all are mercilessly logical. Erase them. End them early to prevent future threat. Seal them away. Lock them inside a causality bubble. Let them survive but cut off from real history. Sabotage them quietly. Corrupt their timeline so they never reach time evolution. The third option is the most elegant and the most frightening. No wars, no battles, just precision. A missing equation here, an impossible experiment there. A collapse of knowledge at a critical moment, and the civilization never knows how close it came to becoming a timeline superpower. This isn't hatred, it is mathematics, not evil, necessity. Because if time can be broken, someone has to stop those who might break it. That is not conquest, that is maintenance. So how does a Warden enforce control without ever being seen? Not by rule, by architecture, by structuring reality itself. It enforces control across 3 layers. Layer 1, prevention. The first line of defense is to stop the idea from forming. A civilization cannot build time technology if it never develops the required physics. So entire fields of thought are steered away from danger. Powerful ideas vanish before they spread. Dangerous hypotheses are labeled pseudoscience before they are even tested. Scientists who get too close are discredited, not by conspiracy but by design. Knowledge is managed. Curiosity is shaped. Entire branches of research die young, not because they are wrong, but because they are forbidden. Layer 2, interference. If prevention fails and a civilization approaches real solutions, then interference begins. Not direct attack, but erasure. Breakthrough papers disappear from archives. Data becomes corrupted. Unexplained crashes destroy experimental results. Critical prototypes fail from impossible malfunctions. Not once, repeatedly, predictably. always right before critical success. A pattern emerges, discovery collapse, brilliant attempts that die not from error but from invisible resistance. Call it sabotage if you want, but sabotage requires emotion. The Warden has none. This is containment. Layer 3. Correction. If a civilization reaches the temporal threshold anyway, if it actually generates a stable causality breach, then prevention and interference end, and correction begins. Correction is not violent. It is surgical. It edits history. A single event is changed. A key scientist dies early. A facility is never built. A war lasts 1 year longer. A meteor lands 10 meters to the left, and everything falls back into a safe timeline, clean, with no memory of what was prevented. Reality doesn't break because something fixes it before it does. Up until now, this may sound abstract, almost theoretical. But this system, if it exists, would produce a clear result. It would make the universe feel exactly like it feels right now. Silent, empty, wrong. For 80 years, we have asked one question. Where is everybody? The universe is old. The elements of life are common. Intelligent life should have appeared many times. Civilizations should have expanded. We should see them, but we don't. So scientists invented the Great Filter, a barrier that almost no civilization survives. Some believe it is behind us, that life itself is the miracle. Others think it lies ahead, nuclear war, AI collapse, climate death. But what if everyone is wrong? What if the Great Filter is not death, but intervention? What if the silence of the universe isn't natural? It may not be quiet because life is rare. It may be quiet because life keeps getting stopped. What if time travel is not impossibly far away but inevitable for any advanced civilization? And what if the moment a civilization crosses that threshold, something intervenes and removes them? That would explain everything. Why the universe is silent, why we see no megastructures, why no civilization appears older than a few million years, why no one has colonized the galaxy because they all tried, and they all reached too far. And every single time, someone pulled the plug. The universe isn't empty, it has been cleaned. This entire idea collapses if physics proves time travel impossible. But it hasn't. In fact, physics continues to allow it, mathematically. General relativity permits closed, time-like curves, paths through space-time that return to their origin. Kip Thorne once showed that wormholes are consistent with Einstein's equations. Under the right conditions, they could allow backward travel. Quantum mechanics is even stranger. Some interpretations suggest the future can affect the past. The Wheeler-Feynman absorber theory uses time-symmetric equations, where signals move both forward and backward in time. The delayed choice experiment implies that present measurements can retroactively define past states. And the Wheeler-DeWitt equation, the foundation of quantum gravity, doesn't even include time. Time may not be fundamental at all. Does that prove time travel exists? No. But it proves something more important. Physics has not closed the door. Stephen Hawking tried to close it with the chronology protection conjecture, arguing that nature forbids paradoxes. But what if he misunderstood? Maybe paradoxes don't appear, not because the universe forbids them, but because something prevents them first. If the Warden exists, he would not break physics. He would hide inside it. So what is the Warden? There are only 3 possibilities. 1. The first civilization. The Warden is a real intelligence, the first species in history to reach time evolution. They survived by controlling causality and now maintain it. This model explains the silence, survival through timeline dominance. 2. The law. The Warden is not a being at all, it is a mechanism of the universe, like gravity or entropy, a built-in failsafe. When timeline instability rises, correction triggers automatically. No intelligence, no emotion, just pure enforcement. 3. The future warden. In this model, the warden does not yet exist but will. Humanity, or something it becomes, survives long enough to master time. But to ensure its own existence, it must then travel backward and enforce stability. That means the warden has always been us. We just haven't reached the moment where we become it. This is the most disturbing model, because it means the silence of the universe isn't something we are watching. It's something we will one day enforce. If the warden exists, can we detect it? Not directly. Any clear evidence would be removed. But patterns remain. There are 3 ways to detect intervention. Not by what we see, but by what we never see. 1. Suppressed evolution. Every advanced civilization in the universe should evolve at different speeds. Some should be millions of years ahead, but we see none. That suggests a ceiling, a limit that is enforced everywhere. 2. Scientific dead ends. Every major breakthrough stalls the moment it touches causality. Quantum gravity, dark matter, vacuum energy. Everything collapses right before the leap. Humanity advances, but never crosses a certain line. 3. Information. Decay knowledge disappears. Entire fields fall out of academic favor. Data vanishes. Breakthroughs get lost. Not once, but in cycles. That looks less like randomness and more like maintenance. No wreckage, no invasion, no warnings. Just a universe that behaves as if someone is editing it. Humanity believes it is still primitive, still young, still far from any technology that could disturb the universe. But that belief is wrong. We are closer than we think. Our progress is accelerating. Artificial intelligence has collapsed the time needed for scientific discovery. Quantum experiments now manipulate information in ways Einstein once called impossible. Private companies are experimenting with gravitational engineering. Lab groups have already produced microscopic conditions once believed unreachable outside neutron stars. Humanity is building tools it does not yet understand. And soon, we will cross a line that cannot be uncrossed. The first step toward time control will not be a time machine. It will be small, almost invisible. A breakthrough no one recognizes as dangerous. A researcher will discover retrocausal signal drift, a particle influenced by a future condition. A quantum team will generate negative time entanglement, a correlation that shouldn't exist. Someone will send a single bit of information 1 microsecond backward, and the universe will not explode, and a paradox will not appear. Nothing obvious will happen. But in that moment, just like every other civilization before us, we will be noticed. History may not end in fire. It may end in a laboratory, when one equation crosses a forbidden line, and then humanity will face a question no civilization has ever answered. Will we be allowed to continue, or will we be stopped, like all the others? For thousands of years, humans argued about the existence of God. Some believed he created the universe. Others believed he was myth. But both sides may have been wrong. What if God is not a creator, but a reaction? Not the maker of existence, but the protector of it. Maybe God does not rule over life. Maybe God does not judge souls. Maybe God does not watch over morality at all. Maybe God protects one thing and one thing only: time. Maybe the true nature of God is not love. Maybe it is not justice. Maybe it is preservation, not compassion, continuity. God does not need to be infinite love. God does not need to answer prayers. God does not need to reward faith. If God exists, he may not care whether we worship him. He may not care whether we discover the universe. He may not care whether we rise or fall. But he will care when we approach time. Because a being who can guard time does not defend life. He defends reality. And that means something terrifying. God does not test faith. God tests danger. Maybe the Warden already watches us. Maybe the Great Filter is close. Maybe this is why the sky is silent. Because survival is not granted to those who rise. Survival is granted to those who obey causality. And we won't. Humanity will try. Humanity will reach. Humanity will attempt to cross into time because that is our nature. And when we do, we will finally meet what waits at the end of history. Not a God of creation, not a God of mercy, but the one who keeps time from tearing apart. The Warden. And if he does not exist yet, then one day when time is threatened, we will build him. Because someone must decide what becomes real. Someone must hold the line. Someone must keep the timeline from breaking. And when that day comes, the question will no longer be, who is the Warden? The question will be, will it be us?